tiger, half iguana. Put them together and you get the all-new Volkswagen Tiguan, the new king of the concrete jungle.
Celebrate Hispanic Heritage Day on Saturday, September 9th. Come early for a D-Backs Fiesta and enjoy food, live music, and entertainment. 20,000 fans will get the D-Backs Sugar Skull, courtesy of Pepsi. Visit dbacks.com.
Scenic Coors Field in lower downtown Denver. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you. D-Backs have a 3-0 lead over the Rockies. And BB, as I always tell you, you don't know ARP. It's getting to know ARP. How about games gained in the wild card since August 21st?
It's that.
Who struck out to lead off the ball game, leads off the third. All 6 of the Rockies outs so far have come on Taijuan Walker strikeouts. He has walked 2 batters. He really labored in that first inning. Taijuan left the bases loaded, kept it scoreless, but he needed 31 pitches to do it. And then struck out the side 1-2-3 with a 15-pitch second. Blackmon a base hit to lead off the third. Well, he is the National League's leading hitter. And now let's see, they're going to go with it again here. This crazy outfield shift against DJ LeMahieu. Look at center field. That's David Peralta out there. He's the left fielder. There is no one in left field. A.J. Pollock slides over to be in front of the bullpen in right center, and J.D. Martinez right on the line in that right field corner. Because LeMahieu is a guy who almost always goes to right and right center. So they are all in on this LeMahieu alignment.
Yeah, not only Peralta shading over into center, A.J. Pollock in the gap in right center, but J.D. Martinez is guarding the right field line like a third baseman late in a tie game.
Boy, it's amazing to see all that room in left field and left center field.
It goes without saying that if LeMahieu would happen to pull one down that left field line, it's probably going to be an inside the park home run.
Boy, you would see the freight train running as fast as he can. I mean, as we pan over here towards center, oh, there's an outfielder. That's the left fielder right there. Top right of your screen. 0-2 on LeMahieu.
But like I said in this previous at bat, if he's thinking about that, you've already thrown him off his game, because DJ LeMahieu's game is to stay inside the ball, even on inside pitches, and flip him out there to right field. If you've got him thinking about hitting the ball to left field, you've already taken away some of his effectiveness.
This is a guy who almost never pulls the ball. And he really rarely ever hits balls up in the air. A lot of hard line drives or hard grounders. And that's what he did his first time up. He just kind of poked a double that stayed just fair down the right field line. Blackmon holds it first. Called strike 3. Rung him up with that slider. 7 strikeouts for Taijuan Walker. You know, Bob, it's funny because he's got a dominant fastball, but all these strikeouts are coming on the slider and the curveball.
Well, whatever it takes. I mean, if you do have a big fastball like Taijuan Walker, hitters are going to be aware of that. They're going to protect against that high velocity, high fastball, and that's when you become susceptible to off-speed pitches that move away from the strike zone.
Nolan Arenado, some big swings and misses on some slow Taijuan curveballs his first time up. Hard slider missed. It's 1-0. If you're just joining us, 3-0 Diamondbacks. Everybody wearing the yellow ribbons and wristbands in recognition of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. That's leaking out of play. All major league teams, players, coaches, umpires, grounds crew members wearing the gold ribbon decals and the wristbands. It is Childhood Cancer Awareness Day at every major league ballpark. fighting off these fastballs. 1-2. Rockies 3.5 back of the Diamondbacks for the first National League wild card spot, so they've fallen behind a bit. And not only that, their lead over Milwaukee for that second wild card has been whittled down to only 2.5 games. So Rockies fans get a little nervous out here. That was the consensus that we found. Tone and tenor of Rockies Nation, as it were, which has been sky high all summer long. They're having a lot of fun. But they're starting to get a little nervous now, and Milwaukee's got a lead over the Nationals at Miller Park. That's Jimmy Nelson versus Tanner Roark. Jimmy's got a 1-0 lead.
Wow, Jimmy's pitching well tonight.
Blackmon takes off for second. Oh, Chris Iannetta. It was a check swing by Arenado, and the bat caught Chris right in the hand.
Boy, very late swing that time by Arenado. It almost looked like he was intentionally trying to hit the mitt right there. Man, that's a weird looking swing right there, but that is catcher's interference on Chris Iannetta.
Well, we already have one catcher with a broken hand in Jeff Mathis. And now Chris Iannetta looks to be in a lot of pain.
Boy, and you know this is a man that can tolerate a whole bunch of pain.
Yep. Now they did add, as we mentioned a moment ago, John Ryan Murphy to their expanded September rosters. He is here. He's been catching in Reno since he was acquired from Minnesota in mid-season. And of course they have Chris Herman. But looks like CI is going to put the mask on and see if he can tough it out.
Back in the days we used to play the Pirates, Dale Berra was a guy that was notorious for doing exactly what Arenado did right there. Just swing real late, try to catch a catcher's glove, and Dale Berra was a master of it. You had to sit about 5 feet further behind the plate when he was up than you did for any other hitter.
Odd for the son of a catcher to do that.
Yeah.
A chance for Reynolds, who walked his first time up. Blackmon at second and Arenado at first. Taijuan Walker got out of a bases loaded jam in the first. He's got 2 on, 1 out here in the third. Well, thank goodness Chris, at least for the moment, seems to be okay back there.
It's a little bit like a foul ball off your front foot when you're hitting. It didn't stop hurting. But you just kind of take inventory. Okay, that feels like everything is where it's supposed to be. Even though I'm in a lot of discomfort, there's not going to be any more damage done.
Taijuan able to jump ahead 0-2. Reynolds does strike out a lot. He sort of regressed with the strikeouts. He's 4th in the National League in punching out. Called strike 3. Good hard fastball. That's 8 strikeouts for Taijuan Walker. And Reynolds not thrilled with Brian O'Nora back there.
That's one that would fall into that borderline category. Might have been a hair off the outside corner, but was cutting away from the middle of the plate toward that outside corner, so he got the call from Brian O'Nora.
Taijuan struck out the side in the second. At one point he punched out 4 in a row. Now 8 for the ball game. 2 on, 2 out for Desmond, who walked his first time up.
This is quickly turning into one of those Satchel Paige games where you just call all your defenders in. I'll handle it. I don't need any of you. Just give me a catcher and everybody else go get a cup of coffee.
Every single out has been a Taijuan Walker strikeout. Desmond's another guy that's got a tongue of swing and miss. 0-2. Can he get the first 9 outs of the ball game on strikeouts? 0-2 on Ian Desmond.
The story goes that Satchel Paige, back in his days of playing in the old Negro leagues, used to feel so good out on the mound on a given day, he'd turn around and call in all of his defenders. Go on into the dugout. I've got this. Then he would proceed to strike out the side. We have no video of that, so we can't confirm it.
Now that is a different kind of shift. Slider almost got to the backstop. Iannetta gets in front of it. Desmond has basically.
All right, guys, let's kick this off. Let me get all my screen situated here. It is 7 p.m. Arizona time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. So let's start on time. We got quite a few people in chat, a little less than expected, but it doesn't surprise me. We got some college football games on. We got holiday weekend. I'm sure there's some people traveling. And I'm sure quite a few people will catch up later. But we should have a great show. Like I said, we are doing 2 shows in a row. As far as the days go, we got one tonight, and we got one tomorrow night. Tonight, probably what I'm going to cover is I want to kind of recap last season real quick. So we're going to go over the Bud Awards, Coach of the Year, and then we'll kind of get into D1 and do, new coaches who moved where, what those conferences look like, maybe how the landscape changed with those coaches moving there. We'll go conference by conference with that. We'll do the best hire in conferences, or just, who's the best fit for some of these new coaches, who made the best hire, I guess is the best way to say that, and kind of analyze it and talk about it. We'll do the same thing with Division I AA. And then I'm going to go over some of the stuff that you guys posted in the production meeting forum post. So appreciate that. That really does help me out, guys. It is hard to come up with new stuff every show to figure out what to talk about, figure out what you guys want to talk about. And this is a show for you guys. So if you ever want to hear something discussed, throw it in there. I can't guarantee we'll talk about it, but it definitely gives me ideas. And, eventually it'll probably be a topic that we discuss and go over. Let's see. All right. And before we get started with all that, I do want to take a moment and just say that everybody needs to have their thoughts and prayers with all those people from What If Sports that have been affected by the hurricane and the stuff in Houston and the Texas area. I know there's quite a few coaches out there that have been posting in different conference chats about, having to move, they're kind of their lives completely in upheaval. And having to get out of there. So just keep them in your prayers. I know in the A10 in Yost, a couple coaches are asking for them to set up some GoFundMe so we can help out. If they do post that, I will make sure and post it in the Wilkinson forums, just so if you do want to help out, definitely be available. I also want to mention kind of our thoughts and prayers go out to Blitz and his wife. They're going through some medical stuff that they're traveling to Salt Lake City. So we just wish everything goes well and that our thoughts are with him and his family. And I also want to mention that I love that everybody's here and everybody talks to each other, because Blitz said it earlier, GD is a big escape for him. He's constantly talking in the Slack chat, discussing GD. So we've been talking Game of Thrones, a little bit of everything. So, it's awesome that we have this community that when things are going bad, in our lives, that we can come to and kind of escape for a little bit. It's not necessarily the best escape when recruiting is going on in Wilkinson, but it is an escape and it is fun nonetheless. So keep those guys in your thoughts and prayers, and look for more info in the forums when we get it, so we can kind of help those guys out. But yeah, so it looks like some more people are rolling in here, which is great, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time on a Friday night, on a holiday weekend. Let me get some stuff going here. So this was our production. I'm going to start off with the BA Awards. Husker Fan 26 puts this on. I love it. It's absolutely awesome. It's a great way for us to recognize some more coaches instead of just Coach of the Year, which is obviously just one coach per division. We get to recognize a couple other ones, get to look at maybe some different other categories and stats and kind of see who's improving or who's doing what. And I think it's pretty awesome. So definitely kudos to you, Husker fan, for putting the effort and the work in. I think this is a great addition to Wilkinson and what we're trying to do here. So thank you very much. All right, so Division 1A. The offensive coach of the year was Ebel at Houston, which is no surprise. My new team. And if we just take a look at what he did last season, and give me a minute to kind of set this all up. And it's probably not going to let me. But anyways, he did go undefeated. He put up a crazy ton of yards on everybody, just throwing the ball like crazy with the shotgun. Just stud wide receiver, stud quarterback. The guy has his offense clicking. So he did believe he did also win Coach of the Year, which we will get to. But definitely big shout out to Ebel. Definitely, great shot. And, I mean, it goes to Defensive Coach of the Year. I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer that everybody was going to vote for him for Coach of the Year when they're voting for him for Offensive and Defensive Coach of the Year. So great season. Sad to leave him see Houston because I love seeing him can be competitive from a small school. Also, on the other hand, I'm happy because it was literally the one school I was going to move up to, which we'll get into a little bit later. But I'm sure he's going to rock the Big East now at South Florida. So let's look out for him and see what he can do there. Most improved went to Osball at Navy. Give me a second, guys. And I also want to apologize. I don't have a ton of this stuff really set up the way I wanted to beforehand because there's a lot of stuff to be jumping around to. But if you bear with me, we will go through this. And what division is Navy in? Let's see here. What division? Conference USA, right? No. Okay. We'll look at that later. Anyways, he's at Louisville now. You're right. So Osball moved to Louisville, which is another great hire. We'll get into that now in a little bit when we start talking about. And the newcomer, Hypno Toad at Missouri. Kudos to him for just taking over Missouri. In a crowded world like this, it can't be easy. Tomorrow with the signing show, we'll probably dive into him in his class and see what he was able to do. I don't plan on getting that tonight because I do think this will be a little bit of a long show, but we'll definitely save that for when signing starts. So definitely look out for him. All right, Division 1 AA, Offensive Coach of the Year. Duke legend made a great run this year. He put up a ton of yards, scored a lot of points, and is really putting it all together. I definitely think he's probably – he's definitely a top 5 team this season, but I think he's definitely going to be, one of the top 3 when it comes to who has a shot of winning the title. So we'll kind of see, what that ends up looking like, but I think he's just going to keep it up. So kudos to him, and congratulations, Duke legend, for winning Offensive Coach of the Year. Defensive Coach of the Year went to Vikes Rule 69 at Texas Southern. This is something that, we'll talk about Vikes Rule. Somebody did post one of these in or I think it was Chetty actually posted it in our production kind of meeting forum post about how much of the credit goes to Vikes Rule and how much goes to Nitros. I'll go ahead and talk about it right now. Vikes Rule's taken over many stud teams and wasn't able to win a national championship, and actually those teams fell off pretty hard pretty fast. So I don't know how much credit I can really give Vikes Rule. I don't know the guy. He doesn't really talk ever in any of the forums. Maybe he's posted in a conference. I don't know. I haven't seen it. So we'll see what happens. Year 3 and year 4. It sounds like there's a big drop off in talent probably again. So we'll kind of see, and maybe we'll take a look at recruiting class to see if he gets it up. But yeah, Nitros definitely gets 100% of the credit. I mean, that guy just built just such a dominating team there that it was hard for them not to win 2 more titles. So with the new coach. So like I said, we'll see what Vikes Rule does this year. We'll see what his recruiting class looks like. He did have a good one last year, and let's see if he can keep it up with all his own talent, and see if he can't keep that thing rolling. But nonetheless, kudos for winning the Defensive Coach of the Year. It is voted on by peers, so I can't knack that. You guys did vote for him, so that's what that means. And Most Improved goes to me. I mean, it's hard not to get better from what I was doing in the past. I was left with a very talented team. So I can't say like I did a lot. Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it. I am paying a lot more attention to what I was doing. I definitely took a deep dive into that Trips offense, figured out where I needed to go. I ran a little bit of that ISO offense that Nitros likes to talk about and some of the other guys. So I'm putting a lot more effort into it, especially now that I'm up at Houston. I mean, I have to, right? I've got left with a ton of talent. They're already running shotgun, which is, the formation that I've been running and switching all my teams to. So it's time for me to step up and just start putting the effort in and showing what I can do. So we'll see what happens there, but definitely appreciate the votes, guys. Newcomer Drake. I mean, I played Drake. I lost to him twice. He beat me in the Conference Championship game, and on paper, my team was definitely more talented on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. He beat Northern Iowa, which had a ton of talent. He beat Dayton, which had a ton of talent, and then he beat me again in the playoffs. So it's crazy. The guy definitely showed up, and I think he stayed. Let's look real quick because I am curious. I thought he stayed there, which if he did, he's just going to keep doing. Yeah, so he stayed. He's in a great recruiting spot. He'll continue to recruit, and he's going to continue to dominate that conference, which, of course, is now a pretty good conference if we look at it, which we're going to go with this later, but we're already here. So it's got Babsick at San Diego, great posture recruit, already a good talent. We'll see what Alec can do with, the guy was complaining about losing to coaches who didn't build their rosters with his team that he didn't build, and then he moved to Dayton. So we'll see what he can do there. I expect him to win games, right? That's a pretty loaded roster. Timber Drive takes over my old team, Jacksonville. Like I said, that team had a lot of talent. I did pretty good in recruiting. Definitely pretty happy with my recruiting class last year. And then Staff 99 and Charleston Southern's been there a long time. So definitely a pretty good conference here. Valpo is a great recruiting spot, probably one of the best in Division I AA. So we'll see what those guys can do. But T-Poke, I look for big things for him in the future. Probably make a lot more, deep playoff runs after he's been there a couple seasons. All right, also Massachusetts, Niagara, another pretty good place to recruit. He had another great season. He's a great coach. I mean, he's definitely not going to be a newcomer for long. He's going to keep moving up. All right, guys, let's move it down on to D2 Offensive Coach of the Year. No surprises with some of these. Obviously, West Virginia Weasling with Slider, St. Joseph's with Gator. For the Defensive Coach of the Year, both legends, both keep doing what they're doing over and over again, which is just dominating people. Most improved goes in North Carolina Central, TP48, and newcomer goes to Millersville, Mickey Min. So congrats to those guys. Like I said, these are voted on by you guys, so it definitely means a lot. I mean, all of our words are voted on by everybody, but, this isn't just Husker fan picking people. So definitely kudos. It definitely means a lot. Yeah, you didn't win Coach of the Year unless you're Rebel. But you still won awards, for categories that matter. So, yeah, one person can win this national championship, but I'm happy that we put some more stuff on the table. All right, and Coach of the Year, stupid rat mount. By the way, I hate this guy. I don't know who alias it is, but just go ahead and give him the thumbs down every time you see him, and let's just get him out of the forums any way we can. All right, so we already talked about Elbow and what he did at Houston. Well-deserved. Would have loved to see him in the national championship game and see what he could have done there and maybe try to pull it off. Fimu Tao, my old conference mate and my buddy at Texas State, very well deserved. He got extremely far. He did put up a fight, somewhat a national championship, but he went against just a stacked team built by Nitros. But he made a great run to get there, and I was very impressed and very happy to see him do it. And new guy, 97 at Delta State, had a great season. I'd love to cover these maybe a little sooner so we can maybe dive into what the actual season was, look at the schedule. But nonetheless, just congrats to you, new guy, 97. And let's hope that you can follow it up with another big season, especially in D2. All right. 1 second. Let me look at our schedule. Okay, so we're going to go over new coaches and hires and new teams, conference by conference, in D1A. Before that, Chetty, who had some great topics to cover in our production meeting, had a couple kind of questions about this. So the mindset a coach goes through during the job change period. Personally, I've got one foot out the door every season as always, grass seems greener on the other side, especially true after a disappointing season. This is very true. So, I mean, I think after a disappointing season, everybody's looking to maybe hit restart. Maybe you screwed up a roster so bad you don't want to go through the effort of rebuilding it, or you just looking for a change or maybe a better recruiting class. Me personally, I always have an objective, right? So when I originally went to Sam Houston, it was in Texas. It was a successful team. I thought I just wanted to rush up to Division I, which is why I went there to make the quick move. And then I drunkenly applied to a different team. So that kind of screwed everything up. Eventually, I ended up at NAU. Now, NAU was picked for one reason only. I went to Northern Arizona. So it not only was the world fun, but now I had kind of an emotional connection to the game, which I like. So that was kind of my decision there. And then from there, it was just I had to get somewhere recruiting. Just getting beat up at NAU for so long, recruiting-wise. I had a couple good classes. I had a number 1, I had a couple top 10s, but then it just got super hard with just how more filled Division 1A did. So to me, and then from there, I was planning on being at Jacksonville for a really long time. My mindset was this is a great recruiting spot. There's only one other Division I AA coach here. At least there was beginning of last season, I believe. And I had very good vision because it was a good team. And it was a fun conference to play in, so I was going to get some playoff money as well. It was a great spot. I was really happy I got that job. Really looking forward to being there and kind of building something. Was starting to switch over to that shotgun. But then, and I kept telling everybody in chat, and everybody kind of asked me too, are you the next coach of Houston? And this was like 3 seasons ago when I started running shotgun when Ebo was still there. And I kept telling people, no, I'm not moving up. I only have one job I'd move up for, and that was it. And then Ebo all of a sudden decided to move. It was open. I got it. And now I'll probably be here for a long time, at least until, I definitely want to be there, win some CCs, and then if a good job opens up, maybe look at it. But I like where I'm at. I like, since recruiting right now, I like recruiting in Texas. There's a lot of recruits, and I like kind of being that underdog in a non-BCS conference and seeing what we can do and hopefully making Ebel proud, taking over his old team. I think a lot of other coaches' mindsets, it's going to be a lot of different things. We saw a lot of coaches move around this year, and you could see some of them where they moved to definitely better schools. There's a lot of moving better to schools. I think we had 3 different elites that ended up getting filled by different coaches. We had some guys that just moved to better recruiting areas but stayed in the same conference. And we had guys that just wanted to go get more competition. So definitely a bunch of different things. Like I said, some guys just need a refresh. So definitely interesting. I'd love to hear your take on this. If you guys want to go over to the forums and kind of reply back to Chetty and let him know, after the end of this season, what goes through your mind. Why are you staying? Why might you be looking? Do you look every year? Or if you're staying and you refuse to look? That would be great to see. So we'll see what happens there. But so let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go conference by conference in Division 1A. We'll start off there. Talk about job changes in those conferences, obviously what we think about them, and yeah, that's the game plan. So Florida State, Bad Axe is obviously in his first season here at Florida State. Came over from the University of Colorado after only spending 1 season there. I don't know who all applied for the Florida State job. I know people were a little surprised that he got it, but I honestly don't think that really that many people applied for it. It's obviously in a loaded world. It's one of the worst elites. You got a ton of elites around you, and in a stacked world like this, it gets even harder. So, but kudos to Bad Axe. If a coach can do it, it's definitely him. He's a great coach. So we'll see what LBU does in this first season here at. Sorry, somebody said I was quiet. Let me double check my settings. Guys, if I'm quiet or too loud, definitely let me know so I can make some changes. Don't let me go too long with stuff being bad. But anyways, we'll see what he can do. We'll go over signing day tomorrow, see how his recruit class looking, see how his first couple seasons going. But it did look like that team was figuring things out down the stretch, and they were getting a little bit better. So that is good. So he's not left with a complete shithole that he has to dig himself out of. Laswell's been there. Coach Udi, it's his 2nd season there. Phil. Now, Phil's in chat, and he can tell me if I'm wrong, but after looking at Slack and seeing kind of the messages and him, he was definitely talking about staying, but he loves Division 1A. He thought this year was going to be the year that Tennessee Martin team was going to turn it around. And then all of a sudden, somebody said something about Maryland or at least moving up. I think it was specifically talking about Maryland, though, and he applied, and he was all about making Maryland great again. I mean, it was kind of like a switch. I mean, it wasn't slow. It went from, no, I'm staying, where you turn things around, but I do love Division 1A. And I think CJ or somebody said, oh, you should check out Maryland or some other school. And then he went, that's interesting. And then the next thing I knew, maybe 15 minutes later, he had talked about he applied and had already changed his logo, I think, before he got the job, and he wanted to make Maryland great again. So nice to see him move up. He's a great coach. You know, he's already proved his talent, at least as far as recruiting and everything else goes. So he's a very active member in our chat. And, guys, if you haven't joined our chat yet, you got to. We're having a blast in here. Any question that you probably have ever asked in GD or just wondered, hey, how does this work? People are analyzing stuff left and right and bouncing stuff off of other coaches. We even get on here at night and we're talking about the Iowa State game. We're talking about Game of Thrones. We're talking about Chinese food. Jump in there, ask your questions, have fun with us, and definitely be a good time. All right, probably the best, I don't want to say the best hire, but probably the one that should scare people the most is the GOAT to the University of Miami. That team has just been dominating. Let's see here. Look at this. Conference championship. Win. 6, 8, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Loaded with talent. DeGoat's a legendary coach, in my opinion, and he is going to rock it. I mean, he's already got talent there. It's already look out this season. Yeah, I mean, that's scary. Not only is he probably keep winning conference championships, but he's probably going to win national championship very soon. Great hire by them. Love to see that. Big things coming in Miami. And then TRM CCO comes to us and made the switch. I think he actually got fired from the University of North Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong. And picked up the job at Virginia Tech, which has had some recent success in the last 5 seasons or so. Jen ended up taking over that North Carolina job after winning in DePaul. I am interested to see, and I believe, yeah, Jen, you're in chat. If you don't mind, tell a little bit in chat, you know, why you took that job. You obviously had a hell of a season. Honestly, Evo and you were my 1 to 2 coaches for Coach of the Year. And no offense to Ebel, everybody knows I love him, but I think you were actually my vote. What you were able to do there last year in that stacked of a conference, I think like your 2nd or 3rd season at DePaul was pretty amazing. So kudos to you, sir. But yeah, let us know why you made the move. Was it just better recruiting area? You know, obviously not more bowl money, but yeah, let me know what made you do the move and talk about it. But yeah. Duke, nice say nine. I mean, the guy was awful at U of A. No offense to him, but Duke's not the best recruiting area. It's not the easiest conference. I mean, he's a UNC fan. See, that's perfect. That's what I'm saying. So that goes back to Chetty's point, right? Why do coaches make decisions? Some of it is passion and emotional connection to schools, and I love seeing that. And also, it is a great school, and it's definitely a better recruiting area probably than DePaul. Even though he was talking about how great it was, and just not maybe how great, but how decent it was for the location where it was. And Dalai Lama is doing his Dalai Lama thing. God bless him, at the University of Virginia. So Bad Axe, Phil, the GOAT, and Jen, welcome to the ACC. Some great hires there. Obviously, 2 elites making the move. All right, let's go to the Big 12, where we have yet another elite, Jason Freeman. Poor Jason. I don't know. He was very salty about the fact that Bama was not going to let anybody know that he was leaving Miami. And Jason Freeman did not really want to take the chance of not getting an elite in Nebraska, so he jumped on that job. But he did talk about in the Slack group how much he wanted the Miami job and was kind of giving Bama a hard time for not letting everybody know before he applied for that Nebraska job. So, or even got the Nebraska job. So very interesting. We'll see what he can do. I mean, obviously he's the legendary coach. You know, he was able to recruit around USC. So if you can recruit around USC where there's less recruits, I think he's going to be fine recruiting at Nebraska, and then we all know he can game plan. So definitely look out for Jason Freeman in the very near future. And we'll see tomorrow what he's doing recruiting-wise on our signing day show. Hypnotoad, it's his 2nd year at Missouri, so let's see what he can do there. CJ made the move, left Eastern Kentucky after making it to the 4th round in the semifinals and putting up a pretty good showing. I think he actually held that Texas Southern team to the least amount of points in the playoffs, so hats off to him. Colorado's kind of a tough school. You got a lot of people around you. I mean, you got somebody in Colorado State right there. Obviously Lions fan was able to do great things there, so let's see what CJ can bring to the table. I did bump heads with him a little bit in recruiting, but we'll go over that tomorrow. But yeah, no, I mean, that's a good hire. Love to see what CJ can pull off there, and see if he can replicate kind of success other coaches have had. Blitz has already been there a long time. BK Dry is Arcade Cowboy. In Oklahoma State, I believe it's his second season. Yep. So just the two hires there, and Jason Freeman and CJ Sweet. There's still a lot of teams open, but should be a pretty fun conference and some great coaches taking over some good teams. All right, guys, the Big East, which is stacked with good coaches, and I mean stacked. You got BJ at Pittsburgh, who's had some recent just good success. You got Allen at Rutgers, who's E32 loves giving a hard time. You got Bullfrog at Temple. I've heard some people talking, or seen some people talking in the Slack chat about how Temple is a great school to recruit from in a world that's not as crowded. So we'll kind of see what that means, but they've had some good recruiting classes recently. So we'll see if Bullfrog can use that to his advantage and see what he can do moving forward. Grunt Boy's obviously here, but he hasn't done a lot with West Virginia yet. We'll see what he can do. Z32, he had a good season last season. Obviously expect him to just keeping it up and keep recruiting. Probably one of the best hires, but it's hard to say because there's some good ones, was GT Deuce at Connecticut. He won his second season in Akron. He went 14-1, was the number 14 ranked team in Wiz, and won a conference championship. Obviously, the dude's a legend. I mean, what he did last year has nothing to do with what he's done, in his entire career in Wiz. So Connecticut, which is a good recruiting area, gets a great coach. Hat Rock is a great coach. He's at Marquette, but he's been there. Tampa Flaw moved to Cincinnati from Wake Forest. Be very interested to see what he can do there. Obviously, another great coach in the Big East, and going to a team which, that kind of Midwest area does have a lot of recruits. You just have to fight for them. So it'll be very interesting. He does have, pretty easy. This, by the way, if you're in a loaded conference like the Big East, this is what you should be scheduling right here. Don't go and schedule a bunch of elites, then go 2 and 3 in your non-conference, and then have to go through the freaking gauntlet. No, don't do it to yourself. Give yourself a chance to at least get somewhere, and also keep your job. Because one thing you have to remember is some coaches are going to get fired because you're just scheduling too hard. Your strength of schedule alone from just playing your conference games is going to carry you to bowls. It's going to get everybody that bowl money, and don't beat each other up. So just keep doing it. I mean, that's great. I love seeing that. Mitt0108, I don't know much about him. He's been at Utah. He won 3 conference championships there. He's there for a while. And yeah, he's won a lot of conference championships. I mean, it looks like he hopped a little bit to get to the top, but we'll see what he can do. Very interested to see. We'll keep an eye on him. Taking that DePaul job, coming off of what Jen did with that conference championship, but we'll see what happens. Osbald, another legendary coach, takes over for Louisville. I believe vacated by DeGoat. Another great coach, recruiting area. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's going to be good. Chainsaw at Colorado State. He's been there a while. Definitely puts up a fight. And then, of course, my buddy Ebo at South Florida. You guys better get ready to defend that shotgun offense in a couple season. Right now, they're set up for I formation and trips, which is interesting. We'll see how quickly he can get this shotgun formation up. But, this conference is stacked. Tons of legendary coaches. Obviously, my favorite conference to watch in this world. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top and how many people they can get into bowls. Whew. Take a breath here. All right, the Big Ten. I think we just have Paul. Paul moved up from Dayton, stays in the Midwest, goes to the University of Wisconsin. Definitely going to be not easy to recruit there. Will be interesting. We'll keep an eye on him. He's definitely a good coach. Husker's been at Michigan State. Obviously, we know Tornes, CFB fan, and Naskin, who is in jeopardy. Unfortunately, trying to struggle there at IU, just like IU did against Ohio State in the second half of that game last night. So we'll see what happens there. But Naskin's a great coach, so we'll see what he can happen to what he can do there. But not a lot of movement going on in the Big Ten, which I think nobody's surprised, right? When your open teams are Illinois, Northwestern, Iowa, and Purdue, there's nothing really that attracting. So All right, my conference, Conference USA. We have, was it really just me? Nope. LSU Saint comes in to, what do you go to, Memphis? Yeah, he went into Memphis. It's his first year there, going into Tennessee. Has some conference championships, obviously. At Lehigh, he was there for 3 seasons. We'll see what he can do. It's going to be very tough in that area. You're kind of surrounded by elites, and he's a little guy, so we'll see what he can pull off there, but it'll be interesting. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. I definitely want to talk more about non-BCS teams. I said that before I took over a non-BCS team, so before people say I just want to talk about myself, you're a liar. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, I took over Houston. I've already talked about my reasons why, so we're not going to dive into that. And then Texas Christian has been there for a while as well, and he's in surprisingly little to no jeopardy, even though he hasn't really had a ton of success. Just look at his Wiz rankings, right? Interesting. So we'll see what happens with him. And let's move on to Mid-American. Husker Fan takes over at Akron. Husker Fan, everybody's favorite maze runner. Husker Fan, talk a little bit about in chat why you took over that team. Let us know. It's definitely an interesting move. I would love to hear your thoughts. Nelson B.A., another legendary coach, trying to figure out a Miami of Ohio, and we'll see. You know, I thought he would have maybe moved, but I don't know how many schools would have actually hired him over some of these other coaches. So we'll see what he can do. This is 4th year in that program, so the rebuild should be starting to come back online. So if he truly is still back at it and working hard, then we should see him have some success. So we'll see what happens there. Bowling Green, no. Chris, no. E-Jumper, yes. So Western Michigan, another tough area to recruit from a non-BCS school. I mean, these are all very interesting because I don't know how they're going to pull it off. If they do, it's going to be extremely impressive. We'll keep an eye on it, and we will go through tomorrow and see what some of these non-BCS teams are able to do. All right, the Pac-10, obviously, we had some fillings because Jason Freeman left Cal. Seabreak, who came back after looks like almost a 10-season absent, took over California, another stacked team, but that team is really designed for the way Jason Freeman runs his game plan, has his playbooks and his formations built. So we'll see if Seabreak can figure that out. Nutty Dog's not new. BYU, Cats Fangs been there. Obviously, Easy, Hitman, all those guys, they've been there. So we'll see what can happen. So just that one job change there in the Pac-10. The Southeast, Triomo, yeah, Georgia, DePope. DePope is on fire. Goes from University of Buffalo, where he had recently won a couple conference championships the season before. Takes over to the University of Georgia, which can be good. I mean, you still definitely got to fight for all the recruits in that state. Make sure you kind of build that wall and keep people from going in there. Unfortunately, I don't think that AWAGS is probably not going to let that happen. I don't think he's really going to care if you try to build the wall, but you got to try nonetheless. So what you can do. But this is another really good conference. I really like the coaches in this conference. Dean Horvey's done some great things. Potter, Treyomo's been doing some great things at South Carolina. Always keep an eye on him. He should have another good season, and let's really want to see if he can make that jump and make, either win the conference or make a level 5 bowl. Whew. All right, Sun Belt. Go through here real quick. Daryl Jones, JJ's new. Obviously, he took over for Oswald at Navy. That has been a good recruiting spot for a lot of coaches in a lot of different worlds. So let's see if JJ can keep it up. Montana, which has to be a fucking awful place to recruit. It's only his 2nd season, so I expect him to get fired in 2 more seasons. Not because of the coach, just because of the location. North Texas, Slider's been there wider. Slider's a good coach. He's not seen a ton of success at North Texas. Definitely, he's in a little to no jeopardy, but it's a hard place to recruit. Especially with his location, it's not easy. He's surrounded by a lot of people, and you just have to be smart there. So what you can do. This is not his first year. 2nd year here. Another great coach. We'll see what he can do. Whew. The WAC. My pesky little firmer who's just battling everybody and their mothers all over the place. 2nd year, Pete 61. Obviously, Pete Won the conference last year. Let's see what he can do again this year. What ranked? Sorry, I keep clicking this button, guys. Getting clicky. Ended up number 11, so he's steadily going up. 70, 58, 44, 15, and 11. So let's see if he can crack that top 10 this year and see what he can do. I do play him, I think, the first game of the season, so definitely probably a good test for both of us. Slick Nick has been there a while, and Johnny Dancer has been at UNLV for a while. Whew. Whew. It's hot here in Arizona. It's hot here in my office. But anyways, let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Let's do this. I'm going to take a quick break. I really got to go get some water. And then let's jump into, we can jump into Division I AA, or I might go to, here's what I'm thinking. I think I'm going to go to the production show, talk about some of the different topics that were up there. And then go to, I think we'll do Division I AA tomorrow, if that sounds all right with everybody. It looks like there's mainly Division I coaches in chat right now. Not that that changes for people who rewatch it, but it does for keeping you guys' attention. So I'm going to go some water. When we get back, we're going to talk about some stuff that's in this little TD show production stuff. And then we will go over some other shit. We'll figure it out. Let me know. Post some stuff in chat, guys, if there's something you want to see, and we'll go from there. How does that sound? Sound like a plan? Sound like a plan.
Is brewing the world's most refreshing beer. A beer proud enough to wear our name in big, red, scripted letters. That's why we lager, filter, and package cold. Because we believe every climb deserves a refreshing finish. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
There's no way an iguana would win in a fight with a tiger. A tiger's too powerful.
I'm telling you, iguanas are crafty.
What if they combine to make something incredible?
Nah, that would never happen.
Half tiger, half iguana. The all-new Volkswagen Tiguan, the new king of the concrete jungle.
Whatever you're getting ready for, come into Supercuts. We pay attention to every detail and then finish with our signature hot towel, so you feel clean, sharp, and not just ready, but super ready. Save time by checking in with our mobile app or at supercuts.com.
Celebrate Hispanic Heritage Day on Saturday, September 9th. Come early for a D-Backs Fiesta and enjoy food, live music, and entertainment. 20,000 fans will get the D-Backs Sugar Skull, courtesy of Pepsi. Visit dbacks.com.
We're brothers.
We're brothers. This is undisputed.
Taijuan Walker has struck out 10 Rockies through 5 innings and leads it 3-0. Hey fans, the D-backs in a huge wild card battle with these Rockies. It's the fight for postseason. Every one of these games is big, and we've got an even bigger series coming up in just about a week or so at Chase Field against Colorado. 4 games at home versus the Rockies, September 11th through the 14th, and you can get tickets for as low as $2, but only this weekend. Online, dbacks.com/fight. It's the fight for postseason. J.D. Martinez hits one deep to left field, and it bounces off the base of the wall. Desmond over there to pick it up, and Martinez has a leadoff double. That's his 19th of the year.
He didn't quite catch all of it, but got enough of it to bang it off the wall out there in left field. Sounded like he hit it out toward the end of the bat just a little bit, but that's how strong JD can be. Almost hit that ball out of here, catching it off the very end of the bat.
A chance for Brandon Drury, who has singled and scored a run tonight, 1 for 2. More note on that big 3-day weekend sale during the fight for postseason. Only good during this weekend. It's a special 3-day sale for tickets for that Rocky series at Chase Field, September 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. As Drury taps it to the right side, that moves Martinez along. Nicely done.
Nice unselfish at bat right there by Brandon Drury. It'll go down as an 0 for 1 in the scorebook, but watch him when he gets back to the bench. I bet he gets a lot of high fives from his teammates for moving JD to third base with only 1 out in the inning.
A productive out. During this 3-day sale, fans, outfield reserve seats are $2. Bleacher seats $5. There's your high fives. Everybody on their feet. A lower level baseline reserve seat is only $10. Only for that series, September 11th through the 14th at Chase Field against the Rockies. So they're going to give Lamb first base. The infield will come in, and the hitter is Adam Rosales. So check it out online, dbacks.com/fight. And that way you can enjoy all 4 games against the Rockies at Chase Field coming up soon.
Looks like Adam Rosales is going to be taken down for a pinch hitter right here after the intentional walk to Jake Lamb.
They've got runners on the corners and 1 out. Rosales bats 8th in the lineup. And they've got the left-hand bat of Ray Fuentes on the bench, so that's where they'll go. You're going to hit for your shortstop here and use Fuentes, who's hitting .234 with 2 homers.
We're going to have a meeting at the mound here as Steve Foster, the pitching coach, makes a trip out to talk to Estevez. And another related minor league story, the Reno Aces. Congratulations headed their way once again. They clinched the Pacific Northern Division of the Pacific Coast League yesterday.
By the way, they're up
Their
3-0,
fourth
top of
playoff
6, and they just swept the Dodgers. So my boys are
Christian Walker,
good. But I will digress. All right, so let's go back to our production forum. And let's see. So Husker fan wanted who's on the hot seat. I'm going to have Z32 put this info for me together and post it in the forums, please, for our next show. Probably next week, I think, will be a good time when we do kind of our preseason show with rankings and kind of regroup on recruiting. I'll also talk about who's my prediction is to win the CCs. We'll take a look at schedules, who's got a good path, who crushes recruiting trail. That'll be partially covered tomorrow and also next week after signings are all wrapped up. And then expectations for the new coaches at new schools. I think I went over that a little bit, but we can definitely touch a little bit more on it if you guys want some more info. Let's see. CJ's trolling. Chetty, we already talked about his. One thing I definitely want to talk about, so new ownership. You know, I definitely think it's going to be exciting, right? Oh, there you go. That's my Yaster tool I just pulled up there. What am I trying to do here? Okay, so new ownership. It's definitely exciting, right? And really, if anything, they didn't spend money on this for no reason. And I can't see them just wanting to use it for the simulator and just, you know, that engine, right? If you look at what they do, they have a bunch of products wrapped around fantasy games and fantasy services. You know, it's not the best website. I'm actually surprised they had enough money to buy it. Maybe it really wasn't that expensive, like we all thought it might be. But I'm really not sure. I really think that they're looking at this as going to be a big part of their, you know, maybe revenue stream and really pushing this to market it better, make the games better, and make it a big part of their site. So it'll be very interesting to see moving forward. Obviously, all that's going to take a lot of time. If you haven't went and read the statement from the guy who's sticking on, then they just bought an FFC Fantasy Sports also. I don't know what that is, Z32, but thank you for the information. I will definitely look at it, and we will discuss that tomorrow. But so one thing to keep in mind, nothing's going to happen for a while. They have to get new coders who are going to have to learn these engines, realize how they work, learn how different changes impact different things, and then I'm sure they're going to be hitting up forums to ask coaches what they want. So it'll be interesting. I would probably give it a full 12 months before we see anything, even minor changes. Some little things I'd like to see. I would like to see a Division I playoffs, even if it's just the top 12 teams. whatever it is. I'd love to see that added in there. I think there's a lot of teams that can compete at the Division 1A level for the national championship. And I know some people think, oh, well, it's cool because it's unique. It's the old bowl system. I mean, we're in a college, playoff series now in real life for a reason, because the bowl system sucks. I don't like it. Just because it's different than Division 1 AA doesn't make it better. Things that are different and unique doesn't mean they're better. So I'd love to see that change. I'd love to see more coaches get a chance to fight the gauntlet and get through. And the cream will definitely rise to the top. And if those 1 to 2 teams end up in a national championship game, then so be it. That's the way it is. But at least they earned it. At least other teams had a chance to get there. So we'll see what happens. Other changes, I mean, we talked about this a little bit. I'd love to see them to bring back the just simming in the offseason against your own team, so you can try different playbooks, different formations, different offensives, different defensives. Let coach figure out how to play this game. Let us fine-tune stuff. Let us tweak stuff without having to, use 3 games to figure out if it works. You're not even going up against the full roster and do that, so who knows, what that means. And then having to use the regular season, right? I want to be able to, play this and get a lot more joy out of it and just try different stuff. I think that would just expand everybody's creativity a lot more. I think you'd see, a lot more different maybe formations, or at least styles of different formations and offenses, and see what happens there. All right, so his last one. If not AWAGS isn't AWAGS, who is the guy? Well, I'm not AWAGS. Z32 is not AWAGS. I think we're all not AWAGS except for AWAGS. So, who is not AWAGS? No, not AWAGS is me. That was a account I started a while ago when I wanted to have 2 teams and have one in Division 1A and one in Division 1 AA. And I decided to drop my stag team because I was just bored in that world. Got a D2 team. Want to be able to, kind of see a little bit more in what's going on in D2, and then eventually I do want to have that Division 1A and Division 1 AA team and be in both divisions. So I plan on being in Indianapolis for a little bit. My wife's from Indiana, so I don't know anybody that went to Indianapolis University, but at the very least it's the same state and the city she's from, so it'll be fun at least coaching there and to see what I can do. I haven't coached in that conference, in that division, in a really long time. This recruiting cycle, I think I recruited a decent team, but I have no idea. I will say some of the top guys were jumping on some of those recruits that I was recruiting, so that's at least got to be a good sign. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, so definitely keep an eye on that. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know how bad I'm doing, and so forth. I think everybody else was just kind of trolling. Columbus Buck, my personal top 25. We'll go over that before the season starts. I want to get recruiting done. I want to get a couple things. I want to get guest reports. And then I want to get our media guides, because I like using those, and that really helps us kind of paint a picture and put a lot of data and research into our decisions. I don't like just looking at teams and guessing. So we'll use that and go over that then. And then there's a lot of Game of Thrones stuff, which we talk about in the Slack channel, so I won't bore you guys. And yeah, guys, I'm doing a show tomorrow, right? So now's a perfect time for you to come in here and tell me what you want to hear tomorrow. I'm going to be going over probably some more Division 1 AA stuff. I might not go conference by conference like we did in Division 1A, but I think what I'll do is just look at the top 25 press rankings that Wiz has generated with whatever formula they use. Talk about who I think some of the coaches at certain schools, how they're doing. Take a look at their recruiting stuff like we talked about, and then go over Division 1 recruiting battles, who's doing well, who's sucking. Sucking is such a bad word. Who's not having the best recruiting season, and then go from there. But yeah, if there's anything else you want me to cover tomorrow, let me know. Like I said, predictions, all that good stuff will be next week before the season starts. But I think that's all I got, guys. I was kind of hoping we would go longer here, but I'm kind of fading fast. I was up at 3 a.m. this morning. It was the first season of Dove season, so I had to go with my dad. I didn't have to. It's a tradition. Went with my dad and my brother-in-law, and I didn't get any nap in like I wanted. So, And then Z32 had me filled up on Chinese food, so I'm hurting pretty bad. But definitely appreciate you guys coming out. Love having you. Thank you so much for spending some of your time this Friday night on this holiday weekend with me. Post in the forums, get on a Slack group, talk to everybody. Apparently, if you're ME, you test stuff out in chat. Me is not me, just like not AWAGS is not AWAGS, or not AWAGS is not me. And yeah, we'll go from there, guys. But have a good night. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and we'll have some fun. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Big, red, scripted letters. That's why we lager, filter, and package cold. Because we believe every climb deserves a refreshing finish. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
The tiger, powerful. The iguana, sleek. Put them together and you get the Tiguan.
Hello? Hi, can you help us?
The all-new Volkswagen Tiguan, the new king of the concrete jungle.
Old-fashioned family food, Black Bear Dimer.
So I'm never gonna let you go. I'll hold you forever. Oh, baby, I'm gonna let you know we belong together. We belong together.
Your home, your auto. Together, they're where life happens. That's why State Farm protects them together, to help life